Hello and welcome to another episode of Soul Citizen, episode 62. Over 60 of these already. Today we're talking about Social Security. We're getting to all the details of that later, but don't worry, it's not about American or some national thing. It's more about security forces and what we intended and how we intend to use them. But first, let's get to introduction. Let's start with our guest, the new person in the house, PhaseOne Gaming. How are you?
I'm doing fine, and yourself?
Yeah, not too bad. Tell us about yourself.
I'm PhaseOne Gaming. Find me on YouTube. I started doing content creation for Star Citizen since 3.0, so I've just been going at it ever since.
Okay, cool. And how long? When did you start Star Citizen? When did you back?
I backed, I believe, from 2015, 2016, around that time.
Okay, so it's been 5 or 6 years.
Yes.
And we all got to know what is your favorite ship? We already have a hint, but what is your favorite ship?
The MSR.
There it is, right there behind you. And next, you're going to our returning champion, the two of them. Let's start with ladies first. LM, how are you doing? And how was your weekend?
Yeah, I had a pretty good weekend. Thanks, fastcart, and welcome PhaseOne to the Soul Citizens. I'm Love Machine. I am a founder of the Rec Raiders, a salvage org, and glad to be here tonight. It's been a while since I've been on Soul Citizens, but looking forward to talking on our panel tonight.
Yeah, so someone, a little birdie, was saying, "Oh, it's been a while since we've seen you," and I was like, "Wait, you just saw me Thursday. What are you talking about?" You were talking about you, obviously, but yeah, it's been a while.
It has. Good to be back. See everybody in chat.
Welcome back. And DK, how are you? And tell us about yourself.
Oh, I am doing great. Dark Knight 75 here. Always find me here at Soul Citizens, but welcome to PhaseOne and as our panel guest today. This is we're looking forward to really having some fun conversations with you, and welcome everyone in the chat. Good to see you.
Okay, here's the first question before we get into the topic. Has everyone recovered from evictus week?
I have, but my
Maybe?
wallet has not.
Okay, that's a good point. I got to clarify myself. Has everyone's wallet recovered from Invictus Week? No.
No.
I just tell you no. Because I only spent like $100, but I spent most of that on all of that on CCU. But yeah, I'm thinking about reorganizing my fleet, consolidating and making more compact, but we'll see how that goes. How about you, PhaseOne? Did you do anything for Invictus?
I purposely hid my wallet. I had to hide it, especially with the Starlifter. I had to hide it, and
See, I try to hide my wallet, but it peeks out from its hiding place every once in a while. I say, I'm here. But it doesn't work for me.
Close. It was very close. I was going to spend quite a bit this time, but I decided, a lot of the ships that I get it in game, that way I have some strive for. So that was kind of how I approached it this.
DK, DK spoke, but how about you, LM?
Oh yeah, they had a lot of fetching paints this year, honestly. I mean, I was really excited about the Drake one, so we can finally see those custom dragonflies out there instead of just black or yellow. So I think Invictus went over really well this year. They did a very good job with the venue and the offerings.
Does anyone have the Star Kitty Dragonfly? No, I'm kidding. I don't have one.
Those are hot commodity.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Did I skip over you? Did you get anything for Invictus?
No.
No.
No. I got storage for my computer. That's what I got for Invictus.
How much storage did you get?
I think I quadrupled my storage, so I got now over 6 terabytes in my computer now.
I was gonna say, tell me it's over 9,000, so I could just use that meme. But you disappointed me there.
9,000 terabytes.
Hey, that'll be enough. That'll last you a long time.
That'll at least load the PTU.
All right, so now we can talk about our topic today: Social Security, or as most people know, security. Discussing, ideas about protecting and from the bad guys, or just or aliens, or anything else that might come at you. First, I have a question for you guys. Are you open or conceal? Which one are you when it comes to weapons? Yeah, let's start with LM.
I like the choice of animals there to explain these ideas. I am absolutely an open carry, especially because I carry the big guns. I keep that thing on me all the time.
What guns? What guns do you carry?
I favor the railgun and the F-55.
Okay. How about you, DK? Open or conceal?
I'm concealed weapons, but it depends on what the project is. If I'm running around a station, I usually don't have a weapon out. Because why do I need a weapon in a station right now? Or if I'm at New Babbage, I don't usually carry a weapon out. I usually even change my clothes. So conceal, but I do have some favorites so that I like to use. So yeah.
Oh, what are your favorites? Tell us.
Oh, my favorite is the custodian SMG. I think is that one. And then I love that. What's the name of that pistol? Volokov? Is that the name of the pistol? I'm gonna have to look it up. Volokov or something like that. Of course, I could be thinking of something completely different, but it's this little pistol. It's really, really cool. And those are like my two favorites. I also like the railgun. I like to use that. It's fun.
They need to fix it a little bit, but it's great. It takes two shots to destroy a Titan, but 5 shots to kill an NPC. They kind of have to fix it.
I mean, if I was going to sport a weapon, I'll put that one on my back and run around, like you said.
And I made a mistake here. I should have clarified. We're talking about in-game here, open versus conceal. So I should have clarified myself on that one. So my bad.
Oh man, so no Glock 9s.
Yeah, exactly. How about you, PhaseOne? Open or conceal? Which one are you?
I'm more geared towards concealed, except for when I'm out on a particular mission. I like to carry more so assault rifles and maybe a sniper, if just depending on where I'm heading. So
You're cutting off on and off again. But what is your favorite weapon?
My favorite weapon right now is the FS9 or the Karna plasma rifle.
Yeah, I myself, I'm not. I don't really have a preference. I carry a sniper rifle on my back that I got from subscribers or Flare or some kind of referral, or it's one of the 3 things that I got that I just put on my back and whatever. But I also have a pistol that I carry. Don't ask me the names of them. It's not my thing. I don't have a favorite. Oh, that's not true. I do like the scalpel. That's a sniper rifle. It's called a scalpel because the name by itself just says it all. And it's not the railgun, but it's the lightning, the stun weapon that you shoot and stun a whole bunch of people in an area effect. I forgot the name of that too, but yeah, the electric one. So I like those. If I had a quick favorite, those would be my favorite.
Nice.
All right. So next up, we talk about personal inventory and the implications of no longer having a bag of holding when they do away with that on in the game. So let's go in reverse order. PhaseOne. What do you think of
Thank you.
What do you think of when you're no longer able to carry a bag of holding? How do you tend to what do you tend to carry, and how do you tend to get around that if possible?
I always make sure I have weapons available, med pens, oxy pen. Right now, I don't really see the purpose of oxy pens right now, but hopefully, eventually, we'll have a purpose for it. But grenades, multi tools. Just always want to make sure I'm ready for particular situation. So I like to keep those things available.
I don't know if this is still the case, but a few years ago, they said like the heavier armor you carry, the more stuff you can carry. If that's still the case, like a light armor, you can have like less fewer slots, and the heavy armor has more slots. So how many med pens do you think is enough to carry along, depending on what combat mission you're on?
Right now, based on the armors that I do have right now, I think I usually stick with medium armor. So I usually get around 2 slots for med pens. So that's usually what I have available. But yeah, but aside from that, and also food and water, of course, to make sure I have those as well.
Keep forgetting about that. Yeah, in Victor's Week was my first real endeavor into that, because I don't always wear my helmet. So I saw the little icons when I was wearing it, and I'm like, "What? Is that new? Oh, okay, time to eat." So yeah, so okay, cool. How about you, DK? What do you how do you intend to get around, or what do you intend to carry when you can no longer have a bag of holding?
Well, I intend to use my ship as my holding cell, or for holding all of my weapons, and I imagine that most of the time I probably won't be carrying anything more than a pistol for security, unless I absolutely need to carry more heavy weaponry around with me. I would imagine I'm not going to be in a lot of places that will require me to have heavy weaponry right now, unless I know I'm going to like a PvP zone or Tram and Myers or something, and I know there's going to be a whole bunch of people there, and I better have a weapon ready because they're going to shoot first and ask questions later. So, but yeah, I usually keep a pistol. My weapons storage will be on the ship, maybe 1 or 2, rifles or the railgun. Maybe I should carry the railgun with me everywhere I go. I just like the railgun. Okay, there we go.
And how about you, LM? You tend to use your ship for storage also, mostly when they do away with the when they bring in limited carrying capacity.
Oh yeah, I'm feeling what Dark Knight was saying there. I actually was thinking, since ships will just have items persisting, it's like you could just spawn your ship, do your item management, and then despawn that ship and actually fly out with what you really needed for that mission. So like one ship will just end up being your bank if it has gun racks and lockers and such. So instead of having a locker on stations, I might just use ships as the locker rooms.
Just to get an idea, what will be your main ship when the game goes live? LM.
The Cuddy Black.
Yeah, that had pretty good storage. Dark Knight.
Mm-hmm. Probably the MSR is my everyday ship.
And PhaseOne.
It will definitely be the MSR.
Yeah, mine it's going to be this ship. But this ship, the background behind me is Lord of Please Griffin. But mine will probably be the Merchantman or the Endeavor, or depending on what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Next up, I had to get the question document up, so that was what I was doing. All right. Next up, is a hired gun. The cost versus the fee versus like percentage. How are you paying for your security? Are you going to charge them a flat fee, or are you going to give them a percentage of what you earn during the missions and stuff like that? Starting with LM.
I'd go with fee on time, like a time basis, and I mean the rate would kind of depend on how dangerous it is, but instead of like a percentage, just kind of keep it basic. Just keep the math easy.
The math? You prefer easy math?
Yeah, easy math. Probably go by like the half hour or the hour.
Because
some people do that
DK?
now.
Nope.
They go by, I cost X to be a turret gunner for an hour.
Okay, I guess the better you are, the more you can charge. All right, DK, how about you? Fee versus percentage, which one are you?
I want to say that I'm fee, but it's also the fee is a percentage of what I am expecting, and they aren't asking for the fee. I'm going to tell them how much they're going to get paid. So if I make, if I have a certain amount that I'm wanting to make, a targeted amount, and I want to hire security to come with, I would give them a flat fee, but that fee is based on how much I'm expecting to make off of that. So if I'm having a high value run, thank you, Standard Deviation, for the subscription. If I'm having a good run and making good money, then my security get paid pretty well. But if it's a low fee, then I probably would have wasted money hiring them in the first place. So you don't want to lose money.
So PhaseOne, I'm going to change up the question just a little bit for you. Let's say that you're going on a mission, you know what you expect, but you make more than you expected to make. How do you split the difference?
That would be for me. Oh, you guys PhaseOne. Okay, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. For me, if I do make more, I will definitely give a percentage of the extra amount that I made. But I definitely do gear towards having a flat fee, and if there are any bonuses as time goes on, and if I'm working with a particular person, if they're really good at what they do, I will of course increase that as progress.
Cool. For me, I think I'm mostly going to go to percentage. I mean, it's difficult to if you have a flat fee, you have to argue anything. Everyone gets what they're expected. But for me, I prefer percentage because it seems more fair. But then again, I'm not working on anything like a huge org or having a whole lot of logistics or anything like that. That's not what I'm expecting. So for me, percentage is probably easier. And I can just use a spreadsheet to calculate the math. All right. So next up, we talk about org or independent. Like, do you prefer having to work with org or group of friends, or mostly a solo player? PhaseOne, how about you?
Right now, eventually, I definitely want to be involved in an org. I think it's a lot more beneficial to be a part of an org. It's I feel like it's a lot more immersive when you do work with others. So I think it's very important. But there will always be some times when you want to just go out on your own and certain things in the verse. So I think it's a little bit of both, I would say.
So let's say you have a homestead versus a base. You would prefer to have a base.
I would definitely prefer to have a base.
Yeah, that's because our homestead is mostly more personal. How about you, DK? Or the independent base or homestead?
I'm along with PhaseOne there is having a with my org as far as doing anything, because then I already have security. So that's the nice thing about having your org, is that I can always go on a call and say, hey, anybody, I might need some security. We're going to go run and try to get this big load of cargo and take it somewhere. 9 times out of 10, somebody's willing to go, which is great. As far as homestead or base, I don't know. I plan on living on my ship, so I'll probably be at the base of wherever most of my org or friends are hanging out. And so base, I guess. I don't know. I'm living on my ship.
Yeah, Gormat brings up a good point. Base equals Javelin or Idris or whatever big ship your org has. So I would think more ground, but space. Yeah, you might have more space in space than you do on the ground, depending on where you are, especially like versus Terra or Earth or someplace like that. LM, how about you?
Definitely like using orgs for security, but hiring independent security is also a good way to try to meet new citizens in the verse and recruit for your org if they're good security. And in terms of base or homestead, I say Endeavor. I'll be living on that bad boy forever.
Nice.
Yeah, like I said before, it's a much better audio Endeavor for me. I'm more of an independent mind, but I backed in 2014 and back when I didn't know many people in the community. But the past few years I've come to know more people, and I'm in Tech Squadron, and so it's like it depends on what I'm doing. I think mostly I give like people in the org a discount or whatever for whatever I manufacture or I mine or something like that. But I think I'm mostly independent. So, like I will probably hire NPCs or get some blades, and hopefully that'll work out. If it doesn't work out in the first week or month or whatever have you, and when the game launches, I'll switch to Oregon real quick. So it all depends. All right. So next up, squad security. What are the possible roles and coverage? So LM, what do you think of the roles and coverage of security? Have what categories and what have you?
I think the categories of a squad will be expanded when they add some more of these new devices. Like I'm really looking forward to probably a demolition officer or someone who can use those lock devices that can make those airlock doors like breach open. You know what I mean? When they demoed the device that will like through a mechanism push the doors open so you could crawl under it. Whoever that's going to be, the trap master or the demolition expert to like breach through compounds. I think that'll be an important one that I'd like to try personally.
Ooh, Dark Knight.
So I look at it more from maybe I see it more as different roles and structures of, say, branches of the military. Your higher ups and your what am I trying to say? Because I'm looking at it from logistics standpoint, but then with those different ranks, but they would be more logistical ranks than any. I don't know. I'm confusing myself.
Yeah, I think like when I think of roles and coverage before you move on, I think of like the triumvirate. You have the tank, healer, and DPS.
Mhm.
That's what I think of when it comes to roles. So that cleared up for you in the Dark Knight?
A little bit, yeah, a little bit. It's one of those things I never really take into consideration until just recently, especially when starting getting more involved with MMO style gameplay with other people. Because I usually was just a solo player, kind of like yourself, fastcart. So it's different to look at these kinds of things because I'm just learning the roles myself as our org is starting to grow. So it's new. It's all new to me.
Cool. PhaseOne, how about you? What do you think of the roles and coverage? When you go on a mission, what are you expecting to what kind of group are you thinking about taking with you? Who does what?
I think it is. I think it is important to definitely have. So you're definitely going to need a medic, especially when medical gameplay does the game. It is important to also have somebody that's more so into recon, sniper, similar to the typical FPS type of roles. I believe it's always to have the different roles in a squad when you're out on a mission. So yeah, definitely I do feel you do need somebody that's more tanky, that has more firepower. You do need somebody that takes care of recon. You need somebody that's more tactical, that has all the gadgets and hacking and those type of. So I think it's really good to have a full squad, various
What do you consider full squad? How many people?
I think a squad of 4 will be good, depending on the mission, right? Or if it's a full-on assault, you may need more, but then maybe you can just have smaller squads within a full squad. But yeah, I think at least 4 is good.
So you're thinking more like, put it in the other MMO terms, probably one medic, 2 DPS, and 1 tank.
Right.
That sounds about right for everyone.
Yeah.
Oh, PhaseOne, can you check your limiter? Because it seems to be cutting out when your voice is low. Thank you. So, yes, for me, That sounds right. 3 or 4 persons for a going out in squad. I'm playing Mass Effect Legendary Edition, so I'm all, that's primarily on my mind. Have like DPS, a tank, and a healer if possible, or have a tank and 2 DPS depending on what your needs are, or to like you're trying to take on something that a little bit harder. Replace one of the DPS with a medic. That's just me. But if you like go on something like, can you imagine like going on something like a raid? We need like 20 people. How would you how would you organize your squad then, LM? 20 people.
20?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that would probably end up being 3 teams, and you have to spread evenly like what the roles are, like a medic for each group, gadgets or tactician or support for each group. I mean, it would depend on what would you need 20 people for. I mean, 20 people would be like an entire. 20 people is like an entire. A homestead is about to be assaulted, and you need anti-air, anti-personnel, vehicles. Like I can't even imagine what like a 20-person defense brigade would be without some wheels moving.
See, that's a good point, and you make up a better scenario than I was going to come up with. I was saying maybe you want to take on that nightmare crab or the sandworm or the yeti. Speaking of MMO terms, but like defending a base, that's better. Like defending your ship, your endeavor. What would you bring for like someone's going to try to board your endeavor? What security would you have inside?
I mean, you wouldn't need security if you just take the front module off and fly away and just self-destruct the rest.
Oh, that's what you would do? You would just destroy Earth.
Oh yeah, I would just leave.
I mean, suppose it like dampens you or something like that. You can't get away. That's what I meant. It's not easy to leave. And you have a better chance of fending them off inside your endeavor or going to their ship when they try to board than try to leave. How would you try to get around that? No? Anyone else?
Like John said, Endeavor's 90% scientists, 10% diplomats. Like,
yeah,
it's only going to be. Yeah, it's not. I don't imagine it having sophisticated like lots of lockers or gun racks. Like,
I would imagine
strapped.
I think it's for a ship like that. It is important to also understand the layout of the map of the points and scenario. You can fend off a squad just by knowing the environment. I think that would help for sure.
Like for me as a measurement owner, I'm gonna try to have some security on the measurement. Not really sure how much I would need or how much I would have to pay them and stuff like that. I was thinking I would pay NPCs or maybe have a friend along to protect my wares. But yeah, for me it's like at least one person who knows what they're doing. But as far as and endeavor, like I mean, depending on if my business ideas take off and people start targeting me, I'm gonna need security, and whether that's from like preparing people to fly steps to guard my endeavor, or having some kind of personal inside endeavor itself to fend off borders. I'm not sure. At least maybe 4 on an endeavor, but the endeavor can only hold 8 people, and most of those will be scientists. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, that's my thinking.
I was actually wondering, I'm going to ask you, how much of the Wild West are we looking at in Star Citizen? Because I'm wondering, do I need to have an outfit of military on my 300i.
That's the question.
Ready to go.
That's the topic of the show.
I'm like, how much security do I need to have?
That's the topic of the show. Yeah.
Those are just questions I ask. Yeah.
I think when the game launched, it'll probably be free for all. Everyone trying to get do their thing and try to get whatever doesn't belong there belong to them and try to take what they want. But as the game goes on, the more mature players will stick around, and we won't need as much security later on than we do in the beginning. Or it could be the reverse. It could be such that, in the beginning of the game, we won't have as many people who have the ability to take on endeavors or mercenaries or big ships like the Javelin or Idris. And later on, when people, like 6 months down the line, when people coordinate to get better at that stuff, that's when, we have more PvP rich environment. So by then, what do you think, BK?
Well, even then, by then, it still begs the question for me as to what nature of business do I need to, say, have more than a complement that my ship requires. So if I've only got 3 people on my MSR, I shouldn't have to hire 2 people more in order to guard the back door. My guys on board the ship should know how to walk in, grab a gun, go defend if they need to, while I'm turning around and hitting the thrusters so we can get the hell out of there. And if it's a ground type of ground type of things, I'm not really a combat person, so I usually wouldn't be in a combat mission situation where I would need to have a tanker, a gunner, field medics and things like that, unless I'm assisting someone in my org and I am assisting them in those kinds of roles. Maybe I could be a sniper or something like that for them. But again, I still just try to figure out how much security do I expect myself to have in certain roles. Now, if I'm, if I cut me off if I go too long, if I'm, say, in my 600 and I'm flying around in that, and maybe I have a few people on board, maybe I want one security person walking around to make sure that, fastcart doesn't come popping off somebody with his pistol. He jumps on board and hijacks my ship, but I'll at least have one extra person, maybe 2 extra people just walking around. I don't need an army, but yeah, that's my answer there.
How about you, LM? Like 6 months down the line, what do you expect you're going to need? You're going to need more security 6 months down the line. You're going to need everything up front when the game goes live.
I think you'll just have to know where you're at. If you can, if we're going to get 100 systems or even 10, if space is big enough, like you might not need security. You just might need an escort. You might not need an entire complement if you're just doing your day-to-day stuff. I think it's a matter of kind of just being aware of your surroundings.
So where are you thinking? Where are you expecting to hang out? Are you more like a Terra or a Soul, or are you going to go to Pyro or a
Not Pyro? I love how everybody says, "Oh, when Pyro's online, I'm going to go there and bounty hunt." So all 2,000 of you bounty hunters are going to show up and bounty hunt nothing because everybody knows. It's just going to be a hive of scum and villainy. So
that's it.
So you're thinking more something in between a Pyro and a Terra, or you're going to be more like a Terra or so or Earth?
I don't know much about the other system's details, but somewhere pretty quiet and safe so I can run my Endeavor, what do we call it? Botanicals operation.
I'll go on board.
I'm not going to hit that.
We have to process and produce botanicals.
Okay. I got you.
I got a 315. I can help distribute.
PhaseOne, how about you? You're thinking like 6 months down the line, what are you expecting? Like, you're going to need more security up front or more down the line? Or like, you're going to be more like what Ellen said, you're going to hang out in some place safe like Terra or Soul, or you're going to be more like a Pyro person?
Yeah, we don't have Phase in Discord yet. His internet dropped and he's trying to get back in. So we've got him by video, but we don't have him in Discord.
Sorry, that was my fault. I thought we had him on audio, so we were going to wait for him to come back and come back to him for that one. But for now, let's switch to trade security. So trade security, what are your concerns and what are your considerations? Like, I have a mission. I have some concern. BK and LM, but you both have endeavors, right?
No, not me.
I
I would like to have
and
one.
I do have a BMM as well.
Okay, so what are your concerns, or LM?
My
when it comes to
biggest one
trading?
is if they physicalize the movement of cargo. Right now, we buy cargo and a bunch of boxes just manifest themselves in the back of the ship. And if that changes to a point of where either we or the AI have to take time to manually load boxes in a contested zone, like that is where you're most vulnerable. Like, okay, sure, you're at a station, you buy something, but you're going to take it to a place in unmonitored space and sell it. So now you have to land on the ground. Hopefully, you hire security so you can stay at the pilot seat so you can leave if something bad happens. But that's what worries me the most is the time spent being vulnerable moving cargo in the future.
You want to be as fast as possible and efficient as possible.
Yeah.
So DK,
We're going to use those carts or grab slabs, however they're going to do it, however they're going to make us push carts around.
get that cart that and paint it red so you go faster.
That's right.
DK, let's say you don't have a BMM, but let's say you want to make a big purchase and you store it on your MSR. How would you go about that? What are your concerns and what are your considerations?
Well, the first thing that I would be more concerned about is this security at the location where I'm purchasing my cargo or where I'm picking up the cargo. How is their security? If they have lax security, then I might want to have somebody on point on the loading dock just to make sure that nobody's doing anything stupid or trying to get on board the ship to, do something stupid. If I'm at a pretty secure location, I might just have somebody on board the ship just paying attention. Because coming from, working logistics in the past myself, the security person might just walk around the area, just to make sure people are not getting themselves into anything. It might be one or two security people walking around, making sure the aircraft's not being touched or things like that. So that's the landing zone. On my ship, I would have somebody, like LM said, just sitting in a seat, maybe ready to go, fueling up, making sure things are, flight plan set, things are, we've got all of that logistical stuff taken care of. And then that would be the basis of it. And you mentioned a BMM, or having larger ships. Even that little bit of security when I have to do my Starliner, I would expect to have some kind of ground security walking around, just making sure nobody's putting stuff on the ship that should be there, and making sure the passengers are somewhat safe. Somewhat. Because we're in a PvP game.
As safe as you can make them without, making any guarantees, right?
Right. No guarantees.
Phase one. So we're talking about trade security. Like if you want to say you want to pick up something expensive, or you dropping off something expensive, or you have you're doing like manufacturing and you want to sell stuff. What are your concerns? Security concerns. How would you go about that?
My concerns are going to be if I'm moving anything expensive, I need to understand what are the main trade routes. So I would organize it in such a way that I'm not going to take the main trade routes. I'm going to put in an effort to where pirates won't expect me to go, and to also make sure I do have security. Yeah, I think I think those are important things to consider.
Me, I'm not expecting to go anywhere close to any place like Pyro or fastcart or any other travel spaces. I'm mostly going to stick around. My plan is to stick around Terra, or maybe Soul or Earth, depending on the prices and stuff like that. So my concerns are what's the best price? No. My concerns are like having a safe spot to make purchases or to sell my wares, like making sure that the dock is at least have automated or even personal security, and up to task if anyone wants to get any ideas and try to take my stuff. That's where I'm at. But if I do decide to go to someplace more dangerous, to like make a pickup or something like that, I'm definitely carrying along at least one or two or maybe all of you with me, so to help me out and say, hey, help me out. I need to pick up something over here. Give me a discount for whenever I make something from whatever I pick up and sell it to y'all. So that's my idea.
As long as I can bring my railgun.
So, medical concerns. What are your concerns and what are your considerations for medical security? Like, say, I'm trying to think of the red cutlass, the cutlass red, or like the Apollo, or maybe I don't know. What kind of, do you have a Hope in Endeavor? The Hope class Endeavor?
I have everything for the Endeavor.
You have everything. You're one of those. Okay. So let's go in this order. What are you concerned from medical security then?
My biggest thought, I don't know anything about the interior of the Apollo, for instance, but I think actually guarding the medical supplies themselves. Like, we don't really know how medical gameplay exactly is going to be implemented yet, but I imagine that the medical supplies, whether it's something that we buy or it's something that players have to synthesize and put together to make the right remedy or treatment option, having those supplies will be important, and people could want to steal those. Even if they are patients, having someone to guard the supplies so that only medical personnel have access to them, I think would be pretty important.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you don't like junkies coming by and stealing your stuff, or
right, they'll do it,
or even the personnel themselves, because the AI is going to be quantity, going to be real people, so they may have trouble and may want to make a financial gain themselves. You want to make a background check on the personnel that you hire to guard this stuff. What do you think of DK?
Well,
that sounds about right.
Sell the stems. And those could easily be used as drugs, which is what they are. They're a vice. That would be something that would be needed in a medical, capacity in some way, shape, or form, but can also be used as a narcotic. So there will be, guards for those kinds of things. Like Elam said, it's you're gonna have to have security over those items to make sure they're ready to be used by the medical personnel that need to use them, and they're not being used or what's the word? Not being used in a nefarious way, I should say.
Nefarious. That's a good word for it.
I was trying to find a word. I couldn't find it. Nefarious.
You do well.
But yeah. When it comes to medical, security around medical, people are going to come in injured, things like that. You want to make sure that they're safe, especially if there's on the live field in a war zone or something like that. You're going to have security around the Apollos and around the other medical ships to make sure that those are secure. But in an everyday situation, you're going to make sure the medicine is safe, because that's medicine.
So phase one, do you expect they're going to have anything like the Concord? What is that thing called? The Geneva Convention, and when it comes to Star Citizen, are you expecting anything like that in the in Star Citizen?
Geneva Convention. What exactly you mean?
Are you fastcart? Are you referring to how medical personnel look a certain way, and you shouldn't imitate what they look like? That type of deal.
And people shouldn't shoot at them.
Yeah. I feel even in wars between orcs, for example, I feel it should be there should be an unknown understanding not to attack medical vehicles or vessels. But you can't really control that, right? So I think it is, like DK was alluding to, you always have to have security for medical vessels as well. And also to have, even on board of ships, to make sure there's somebody to make sure that nobody's picking up all the devices like men. So yeah, I think throughout, even trade routes in regards to medical supplies at outposts or manufacturers, you need security to make sure that they're able to even provide it. So I think those things are very important.
Cool. Yeah, I'm just going to add this before moving on. Drugs are bad. Okay, kids, don't do drugs.
You remember the egg?
Oh, it was not the same to go to rail too much, but it was hot here today on the East Coast. So yeah, you could find egg on a sidewalk. But
yes.
okay, so next up, vehicle security. What do you think of the concerns and consideration for that? Like, do you have a ballista or even something small, like not smaller, like I don't want to say like a G12 or something like that. What do you think of security for those? Start with PhaseOne.
I definitely do think that is important. For example, if you have a base, you need to make sure you have things in place to make sure nobody can sneak in and take a particular vehicle. Or even when you're out and about, it is important to also have maybe other crew members to make sure that if you're out exploring, you have somebody that's also looking out to make sure that you don't get attacked while you're out. So yeah, I think it's vital to always make sure that you do have some sort of security plan for those for the vehicles itself.
Before I move on to someone else, do you have any land-based vehicles in your fleet? PhaseOne.
I do. I have a rover for that comes with the Carrack. I have a Dragonfly. I have a Nox. I have quite a few. I have a Nova tank now. So,
But which one do you think you'll be using the most?
I'm an explorer, so I think I'll probably be using the rover itself more.
So that's what your main security concern is going to be about then.
Yeah.
Cool. How about you, DK? Do you have any land-based vehicles?
Oh yeah, I've got my G12, and then I'm hoping to get the X1 at some point. I'll get that in winning game. But when it comes to security, if somebody jacks me, I'm taking my pistol and I'm gonna I'm taking my railgun and I'm gonna whack them upside the head with it. Don't jack my G12.
Between your pistol and your railgun, your pistol may be easier to get out faster. I don't know.
It will be, but the railguns hurt more. So, I mean, I can blow the door off the back of my G12. At least I can get it repaired, right?
You can repair a G12, but you can't repair. It's cheaper to repair your G12 than to repair yourself.
Right. And then somebody jacked my G12, then I gotta go buy another one. Why? Come on, people! Don't try to jack me.
Ellen, what land-based vehicles do you have?
The Dragonfly, Ursa, Nox, and the G12 series, which I can't wait for. Especially because of all the paints they're doing, like the racing variant. Hopefully they'll get some exciting paint colors. But I see them as replaceable if people want to jack them. It's more when the game goes live, the vulnerability of having ground vehicles, like if they're parked at a ground base, is if people don't want to steal the entire vehicle and want to mess with you. When everything gets gold standard, I think parts stealing is going to be a huge thing. People want to cover the parts. People steal generators.
They're going to come by. They're going to come by and leave your G12 on blocks.
Yeah.
So, is the G12 your favorite land vehicle, or some other vehicle your favorite? Which was your favorite?
Which of the G12s?
No, is the G12 your favorite land vehicle?
I would like them to be. I hope they go pretty fast. They're supposed to kind of be a hybrid between the Ursa and the Cyclone, so I have a lot of hope. I like how smooth they are. I don't have anything else Origin, but the G12s look like they'd be fun to drive.
So it seems like to me you're gonna go the Endeavor route. If someone tried to steal your D12, you're gonna run away and self-destruct it.
I mean, I'll like EMP them with the racing one, like, and then just run away.
That works too.
Yeah.
Yes, I have a whole bunch of land-based vehicles. The Nox. I had the Keeler comes with the Ursa. Have a Dragonfly, a Yellow Jacket. I think I'm missing. Oh, I have the Ranger with the motorcycle ones. Between those, I'm kind of partial to the Ranger when it comes to wheel one, and maybe the Nox when it comes to like anti-gravity one. But as far as security is concerned, I'm thinking I'm a lone wolf on my own most of the time, so I'll try to like pick my time, pick my location, and be careful and be aware of my environment. Barring that, if it's for a mission or something like that, I can bust out the Ursa Rover and take people along with me. Hopefully, they can protect me if I'm driving while I'm driving away and to and from the ship and stuff like that. So those are my concerns. But yeah, I think that's basically it for me. Like the Ranger and the Nox, well, or the Ursa if it comes to a squad. All right, so let's go to ship security. You already know from LM, your ship security is mostly about the Endeavor. You're going to fly away and self-destruct if something bad happens. But barring that, what are you concerned for ship security?
I would say depending on the size of the ship, you need to have enough people to just do hallway patrols. When someone else is like flying a carrier or something, that's my favorite thing to do is just do laps, which of course will be more important if more ships come out that have the vent system, like the MSR. Just making sure that like even the crew that you've hired on, like if you have hired individuals or an org, that they're in the place they're supposed to be, and there's no saboteurs, there's no one tinkering with components and stuff like that.
See, I can easily see this becoming like an Among Us. If you have someone trying to infiltrate your org and try to steal your medicine or something like that, just say, "You look suspect. Did you do something?" So yeah, I can easily see like EVE Online is big on that, and I can easily see that coming to third citizen. How about you, DK? What are your thoughts?
Ship security. So for ship security, Ellen, you mentioned the MSR. So with those kinds of things, I expect my security to mainly controlled by the ship's security systems. So those locked doors should be able to stay locked, and those keypads should work, and no one should be able to get through them. If they hack their way through them, then an alarm should go off, and one of my crew members should go down right through that one door and start popping caps. And sorry. And so that so it's those kinds of things. If I'm you also there's also the issue of also the large size of the ship. Some smaller ships aren't going to need as much when it comes to extra security. They can rely on the ship's security itself and maybe their one crew member. But if you're on a larger ship, say like getting up to the capital ship sizes, you're going to have more people walking around because there's more doors, more places to go and hide. There's less places on an MSR. Yeah, it has the crawl spaces, but again, they shouldn't be accessible through any of the doors that are already locked. So those 3 entrances in the cargo deck should be locked, and if they're not, somebody's getting fired.
I keep going PhaseOne these curveball questions. I'm going to stick a DK this one. You went on the Javelin tour in Victor's Week, right? The tour.
Me or PhaseOne?
DK.
Oh, okay. Yes, I did go to Javelin tour. Yes.
So all of those. so all of those people were just standing around and just manning the post. You think that was a good idea or a bad idea? You would rather see more patrols, or how would you go about it on your ship?
No, because in that case, they were trying to protect or keep us from getting in someplace. And it wasn't so much of, in a normal everyday case, I would imagine that they don't need to stand there. You would have a key card or some kind of code to get into that particular room that they're guarding. But right now, they're not letting us back there anyway. But would that be viable? It depends on the ship. It depends on on Love's endeavor. There might be certain places that she doesn't want people to get to. Certain rooms that should not be accessed because they have valuables. Well, some person might stand right there in front of that room, guard just that one room. Or, if it's a prison ship, someone's going to guard the brig door, the main that main door. They may not have to go all over the ship, but that one door where all the prisoners are housed, they're going to have one or two people guarding that, in addition to the ship's own security systems. So I think that's where you would see, security guards standing post at a door, maybe diplomats on an 890 or something like that. I don't know. It could be something like that. Yeah.
Phase one. So, what are your concerns and considerations for ship security, like or anything that we just talked about?
Yeah, I think it's when it comes to actual NPCs, you'll need to, depending on the size of the ship, you need to have a balance of actual real players that's overseeing the entire thing and the NPCs, right? So it's always important. I feel it's always important to have an actual real player to manage the NPCs when it comes to security, because they're always going to be players are going to be smarter than the NPCs, so they're going to know where to be, where not to be, right? So you always have to make sure you have somebody managing that. In terms of gadgets, hopefully there is gadgets that we could have installed on our ships to help with security. I think that will also be something that be a good idea to also have in place. So it's I think you'll have to consider it from that level, also with real players as well as NPCs as well.
I'm gonna have to push back a little bit on you on that one. You say players are always gonna be smarter than NPCs. Have you met some members of that squadron?
No, I haven't yet.
You have not. Okay, so that's where you get your that's where the disconnect is. Okay, fine. No, so yeah, you don't want to have like someone drunk like in tech squadron guarding your stuff. That's where my concern is, especially if it's not like a bigger ship. It's like, are you sleeping on the job? Hey, knock, knocking on the helmet to wake them up. So, are you awake in there? No, I can see that. So definitely want to like try to make sure that the security people that you hire are good at their job. And make sure that they're actually doing their job, and make sure they're actually at the post or patrolling when they are supposed to be patrolling or at the post. And especially for that's not way when it comes to PCs, player characters. For NPCs, as long as you pay them enough, I expect them to do their job at least mediocrely well or average well. But there's going to be tiers of NPCs that you can maybe hire. So I think the better the tier, the better they are at their job. So hopefully, like when I get my mentorship or endeavor or something like that, I'll be able to hire the above average NPC and hopefully they'll be good at their job. That's my thought. Cargo security. You're having like a hull or a measurement for that matter. How would you go about picking security and guarding cargo, starting with phase one?
I think when it comes to cargo, it's you have to be on point when it comes to that. You need to always have security in terms of other ships, other players that would be, especially if you have a merchantman, if you have a hull C and bigger, you'll need escorts for sure, 100%. And as well as you need somebody that would also manage your routes, right? I feel like when server meshing gets in and they expand the star system, trade routes and everything relating to that is going to be very important. You need to know where you're going, so it's going to be important to have. I think one of the key things is also to make sure you have actual ships, players with you while you're on your routes for sure.
Cool. DK, cargo security. You meet it.
Thank you. No, I agree with you there as well, Phase, on wanting to have some security specifically for those large cargo ships like the Hull C's and the Up. They're massive, and you don't have protection yourself. You can't turn around and start shooting at the the little hawk that just came piddling up on you. You're going to have somebody with you, and most likely you would want to fly those in convoy, and maybe have 2 or 3 Hull C's or or a couple other ships going along with them in convoy, along with one security. I would imagine security would be pretty tight depending on the types of cargo being delivered. But I would imagine the station security itself, where those cargoes are being picked up, should have very heavily secure locations and security around those locations for these ships to come into dock. Because I don't imagine they would want to have 10, 15 Auroras flying around the whole sea, taking up airspace when they've got 2 or 3 of them trying to get into dock. Just be too much. But if they fly in convoy, and if they have a couple scout ships out with them, and they're flying in a well-regulated shipping lane that is heavily guarded, heavily protected, and as long as you've got some people with you, along with that, I would. Yeah, you could do it, but definitely having players with you would be helpful for something like that.
But DK, so what are you carrying that you would need multiple Hull C's to carry them? That's my question. Oh, you're gonna be quiet about that?
It could be some botanicals.
We don't know. I just left Love's Endeavor. I don't know what's on my ship.
You're just the delivery person. You didn't inspect it or anything.
I swear I didn't know it was their officer.
It's not mine. By the way, folks, we're taking the questions. I have the question document up. So if you want to spend a sole citizen point to ask a question, feel free. We'll take care of them at the end of the show. So, Love Machine, your botanical garden. What are your concerns for security when transporting your finished product? That's what we say.
I totally agree with what PhaseOne and DK said. Just thinking in terms of the long game, like what if you're transporting cargo from jump points to jump points? And yeah, you want to have like fighter escorts with you, but what if they can't make it for whatever reason? What you'll have to kind of establish in a security operation is you need someone to get you to the jump point, and then you'll need to have a different security team, because maybe security teams are isolated to their systems. Like, oh, we only do security in Crusader. We only do security in Terra. So you'll have to kind of coordinate. Like, so when I get out of this jump point, like my escorts need to be there and get me to where I need to go in this system.
Yeah.
So, Griffin and I have almost the same idea. Suppose you get interdicted. What are you going to do then? In between your route.
I don't know how jump point. I don't know too much about the jump point mechanics. So,
well,
I don't know about jump point interdiction. Like not quantum. I'm like jumping from a system to a system. Like that voyage.
So how about if one of your ships or your main ship get disabled? How would you go about protecting it then? Like your some jumped out or some way out from from your destination and your ship to get disabled somehow, how would you go about protecting it then? You call for help?
Yeah, absolutely call for help. And there's nothing you can do. Yeah, we like ZC4 King in the chat. Yeah, I hope jump points can't be interdicted. Like,
yeah, they use Eve level camping.
Okay, so a little birdie told me to ask this question. Your ship is disabled and about to be boarded, but friends are en route to help. Will you negotiate, surrender, or fight?
fight where? Fight in space? Because if you're in a cargo ship, fighting's not an option. You don't want to have all
I
that
think
stuff
in space. Yeah.
Yeah, you want to do everything in your power to not have your cargo destroyed.
Run.
Right.
Yeah, it's run.
I think
You're being boarded now. You're being boarded.
Still run. I'm not going to stick around. I don't care if I am being boarded. I'm running. And if they are boarding me, yeah, go ahead, please.
Sabotage opponents and I guess.
Yeah, I think it is, like I was alluding to before, it's important to understand your ship and understand your choke points, and if you just hold a choke point and just stall them as long as you can until your friends arrive, then I think you can definitely hold it. It's always good to have at least one person with you that really knows what they're doing when it comes to first person shooting, if they're available. So, and they could help with the tactics and all that.
So PhaseOne is going to try to hold him at a choke point. LM and DK are going to try to run even when the ship is disabled. Can't go anywhere. Is that am I right?
No, if that ship's disabled, I have to be able to do something about it. I like the idea of the choke point. The choke point makes sense. Absolutely. But if my ship is able to move, I'm going to do what I can to at least try to get out of there and mitigate any more damage as much as possible. That's just me.
So the moral of the story is when you need help, call PhaseOne Gaming and he'll come get you out of the fix. That's what I'm going to do. Yes, like to answer my own question, like if my ship is disabled, Lord help mercy, my BMM. I'm not going to lose my BMM. That's my baby. I'm going to have to try to save it somehow. Keep me at a choke point until help arrive. Hopefully help will arrive in time. Otherwise, that's the fate man mechanic kicks in. But I'm going to definitely go down with my mission, man. I'm not going to self-destruct it or anything. I'm going to try to protect it.
Going down with the ship.
Hey,
Hey, that works.
It does depend on the situation. If it's something like I can see myself surviving, then yeah, I may go that. But if it's like something unwinnable and I know help isn't going to be there in time, and their borders are just too fast and they take over too quickly, I may have to eject, but it'll hurt my heart. It'll hurt my heart to eject.
I think the hardest thing I can imagine with cargo security is actually not wanting to lose that cargo, because cargo is expensive. That's a lot of money. That's a lot at stake, and the last thing you want to do is blow it up or have it taken. So, that self-destruct button would be the absolute last final resort. I'm going to die. There's no other way to get out of this, and all of my escorts and everybody else is dead. So, and this is it. So I will now blow the ship. But if I would hope it would never come to that. That it would be enough security to hold choke points, like PhaseOne had said, be able to, have components, repaired and able to get the ship moving again so that we can get out while the other teams are taking care of whatever, attackers we're having to deal with. And for large ships, there probably would be a security detail on board holding that choke point, like PhaseOne said. But my goal with my crew is to get the ship functioning, get it able to start moving, and get the hell out of there.
No, I haven't been ignoring chat on purpose. It's just that I'm trying to keep track of what everyone is saying. I can't really divert my attention. But I've been catching what Chat says on this topic, and I like what Gomap says. Use all the disposable alt to do dangerous missions. Use your disposable alt to to make sure you get away. And Parker says cut off your arms to put the lights on in the escape pod. I'm not sure that'll work. And if I cut off my arm, I won't really have a good arm left. So that's the other question for me. But maybe for some of these other people, what do you think of those ideas? Like using your disposable alt or NPCs as cannon fodder, or maybe cutting off a limb to try to fool the sensors.
I don't know.
Or DK. Go ahead, DK.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. I don't expect to throw my crew into the fire just because I'm trying to save my own ass. If I'm the captain of my ship, I got to defend my ship, and that also means protecting my crew, not throwing them. Go right out there. There's gunfire. Yeah, I know, but you're going to be the one to get hit, not me. It's not like one of those kinds of things. Maybe some people will do it though. People are out there.
One of the things that I hope they do implement is traps. The ability to set traps. If you know where to place them, then you can stave them off a little bit, and that should hopefully gives you enough time until your friends arrive. So.
How about you, LM? Would you use your NPCs or even your friends if you have to just to save yourself to protect if there's no win situation?
Oh, absolutely. If we're trying to make money, like the money goes into the org bank. I mean, it's all like in Phase One's choke point. It's every man to the door.
All right, cool. All right. So next up is the homestead security. Thanks a lot, Chad. That was funny. Homestead security. Your homestead is the personal base as opposed to the like a base where it's for an org. So for your homestead, what are your security concerns? Let's start with LM this time.
Have any of y'all played Rust?
I've heard of it.
Anybody tried to? Oh wow. Okay.
It's crazy.
Yeah. So you make a little hut in Rust, and you don't want people to touch it, and you put 50 doors with 50 electric locks made of 500 pieces of the heaviest sheet metal. And you hide things under the ground, and you do every squirrely thing because people are very tenacious and very curious. So if you have a homestead, you have to outfox anybody who's trying to find your locker, your treasure chest, or just anything and everything. So homestead security, I think, it's less about weapons or about patrols. It's more about just being clever with where you put your valuables.
So LM, in your homestead, how many levels below the ground are you going to have? Like you're not going to build up. You're going to build down. I take.
I'm not going to answer that at this time.
DK, are you going to build up or build down for security purposes of your homestead?
Man, homesteads. That's a tough one. I almost feel like security for that is even harder to do than on a ship, because at least on a ship you've got, where things are, where doors are and this or that. Homestead, people come in all different directions. They might even tunnel under the ground to get.
Well, you have sensors and stuff like that. You can keep track of that stuff, right?
Yeah, I've got sensors to keep track of it, but that's even more of a hassle with a home, because then you got to have sensors all around 360 degrees.
And keep your monitors on the
monitors, right? If my little robot didn't pick up that's right, we don't have robots, but if my sensor didn't pick something up, and and who knows, maybe it's a person that's all great and good comes knocking on your door and wants to sell you pie, and next pulls out a rail gun. People do this. They'll get through your security by playing nice to you. When it comes to homesteads and things like that, you kind of gotta you gotta be on top of what you where you put things. Just like Ellum said, you just got to be very cautious of where you put things, how it's secured, make sure people can't get to it. 40 levels of of gates to get through in order to get to the bottom of my security vault. Yeah, it seems somebody had mentioned turrets all around your house. Yeah, you can have turrets all around the house too. I guess you're expecting aircraft fire. I don't want to go home and expect aircraft fire.
TK, I'm going to ask you this. How much security is too much security? Like, there's going to be a point of diminishing returns. Like, if you have too much security, it's just going to be more noticeable, and that'll attract people you're trying to keep away.
That's exactly it, too. I mean, if you've got 10 turrets surrounding your place, you better believe somebody's going to try and get in there, because what are you protecting?
Exactly.
Why do you have 10 turrets around your house? That's open invitation.
So maybe 3, 2, just to be under the radar?
One 360-degree turret, or 180 or whatever. That's it. One turret on top of my house, if I have a house. But I'm using a turret on top of my ship, because I live in my ship.
And one rocket grenade will just take it out. Then you're done. That's it.
And I got my railgun.
You relying on that railgun an awfully lot, man.
Never leave home without it.
Never leave home. Right, love. Right.
Gorman said there's no such thing as too much security. I gotta disagree. What do you think about that, phase one? Do you think that there's too much security, such thing, for homestead?
I think there is diminishing in returns when it comes to security. It depends on what you're protecting. One thing that I think people need to also consider is where you place your homestead, right? You need to consider, is it going to be secure space or is it going to be unsecured, right? And you need to understand the benefits of each. If you're in an unsecure area, just knowing that the resources around are probably going to be a lot more valuable. So yeah, you may be mining there, but people are going to target you knowing that you're mining there, right? So you have to consider you may not need as much security in a high security system, but if you're in a really low security place where you have access to a lot of really valuable resources, you need to really ramp up on the security. So I think those are things that people need to consider.
So my idea of this for my homestead, I'm pretty sure it's not going to be put in the game, but my dream would be like if I'm, using a chair or having a chair or something like that. I want a chair that can death blossom. I don't know if anyone is familiar with the Last Starfighter at the end of the movie. It's a 30-year-old movie, so it's pardon the spoiler. But Death Blossom is basically this all-out. Okay, imagine the big old carrier that you saw on Inside Star Citizen had 90 turrets, except it's just one ship and it's a solo fighter. It's putting out that much DPS at one time. I mean, I want something like that for my homestead.
That sounds good.
It's not going to be possible, but that's just me. Someone got the reference. Thank you. Thank you. Got the reference.
Damn.
All right, so now we're moving on from home to homestead, a solo, a personal security to base security, which is more for org. So you have more people to take care of your base, and it's this is going to be on the ground or we change it up. It'd be in the ground or on the ground or in space. What are your consideration for a base security, starting with phase one?
I think what people need to consider is you definitely need air, something to manage the airspace, as well as on ground as well. You definitely, if you have a base and let's say it's a large org, you're definitely going to need not just NPCs but actual players to manage the NPCs while you're securing, and there's always going to be shifts of people coming in and out. So it's I think base security is going to be a lot more important, especially when orgs are fighting for resources in specific systems. So I think when it comes to base security, I think it's very important to make sure you put all the resources that you need to make sure you're secured.
Fair enough. How about you, DK? What are your thoughts?
Base security, that's a lot of security, because you're going to want to make sure that thing is fortified. That's like basically a any kind of military base. It's going to be fortified. You're not going to get in there real easy. You're going to have guards. You're going to have the airspace covered. You're not going to be able to fly in there unless you have authorization from the base itself or whoever runs the base. If you're going to try and infiltrate the base, you better bring heavy artillery and a lot of people. Because I would expect that base to be heavily defended as well, with guards, and the people on those bases will know what to do. So if it's an org, they've already got the strategy set out for how that base is going to be protected. People already know which doors they're going to go to, perhaps already have stations assigned for, if things all break out, go, all right, someone go to, door A, protect door A, someone else goes up to the tower, someone goes here. Those are the, you've got the aircraft guns on the ground, you've got tanks, you've got everything else all pointing up at the sky. You got me down there with a railgun. It's just, you've got all these, I'm bringing that railgun. But base security is going to be huge. Yeah. There's going to be tons of people down there for base. And what are their concerns? It's incoming orgs that are going to come and try and infiltrate your base and take what you got, or try to take away your land claim or whatever it is that you're trying to work with. That's what your concerns are. You're going to want to be beefed for something like that.
Taylor Lahore said, "Domesticated sandworm," or maybe like a yeti, or that big ass crab that we see in the concept. Domesticating one of those. I ain't touching it. Nope, not me. You can try it, Chipper. You can try it if you want to. A legend, wait for it, Gary Sheep had the idea of saying, I don't see people guarding a random patch of dirt 24/7. There's a multi-continent operation that's gonna be boring. What are your thoughts on that, LM?
I see like bases will exist, but I don't think there's a way, unless like an org is so huge and so spread around the world, no one is defending it 24/7. So security in the mind of a base is, I think there's, that right now I can think of two reasons why would a malicious group try to attack a base. And there's one, to just destroy it entirely just because, or two, if they can take over it, like what does that mean, right? They want to take over the space to hold cargo, the space to hold and repair ships. Like maybe that you have resources that you found that are important. So security in terms of like passive, like you're not there, the best thing that you can do is make it so they risk too much to try to attack it. You need to make it so that it's so much trouble for this group to try to get to the land claim, get to the passcodes, get to the doors, get to the keypads, however it's going to be. If you can lock doors, if you can secure them with devices, like you have to make it so aggravating for these outsiders to want to break into this place. Hopefully we could have landmines, caltrops, any type of area denial features that it's a lot like I think it's a historical thing that in Japan houses were built with floorboards that would creak on purpose, because if you're native to that house, you know which floorboards creak, and if an assassin tries to like come in your house, they don't know which one's the silent board. So if you hear floorboard creaking, that's someone who's not supposed to be in your house. So that's how I see security in terms of a base. Is it's not about destroying other people, it's making it so that they don't want to be there.
Oh, in your homestead, we'd have like 40 different doors. How many doors would you have in the base?
Probably just one, and it'll lead to nothing. Like, or if you have one door, that's only one door to break, and it won't lead to anything. 50 doors, they'll waste their time going underground and get nothing. Like it's all decoys, it's all misdirection. And again, discourage. People are curious online. They will do everything in their power to break what you have, true. And you have to try to discourage them and give them nothing.
What they could do is put like a time limit on it. Like if you don't reach your goal or don't reach the treasure or whatever cargo you're looking for in a base by a certain amount of time, if you don't get out by then, you'll get mowed down or something like that. That have some kind of time limit. Otherwise, people can just grief you 24/7. Do you think that there's a point in that PhaseOne?
Yeah, in other games, people grief all the time. Even right now, especially in Olisar, some people will just stay there and just grief all the time. So, yeah, it is. I don't know if they'll make it they should make it a game mechanic, or I think, let's say maybe you can set up certain traps in certain rooms that would initiate maybe a bomb or something like that.
There's always hostile architecture. If you open a door and you fall in and it's a murder hole,
Right.
so they
Right.
can't get out.
That's what Valerie Rose said.
Hostile architecture is one way to do
Exactly. Yeah.
How unaware of your situational awareness would you have to be if you open a door, don't look down, or is it like a trap or something that they won't know?
Happens all the time in other games.
Oh yeah.
Spike traps are very real and very serious.
Yep.
All right, take a word for it. Okay. So have we? We covered a lot of different aspects of security here. Do any of you have any other thoughts or ideas that you thought of after that you want to come back to or anything like that? Starting with Love, do you have any further thoughts on this topic?
Are we going to go through the questions that folks asked?
Yeah, after this.
No, I can close by just saying again, yeah, like the point of security, I think someone in the chat put it very well, is that you have to give your attackers enough of a hassle to either escape or to just make them not want to continue what they're doing. So it's not necessarily overwhelming force, but trying to be clever and devise like strategies to like make sure you have an exit strategy if you're traveling or if you're defending a homestead or a base. Be clever about where you put your valuables.
I'm just distracted by what GoMap said. You put it in our cat. I have no idea what that's about, so I'm just gonna move on. But a little birdie told me to it's time for real questions, so I'll get back to DK and PhaseOne after this. So going with our first question is from NuSoul Squared. Will there be a hero station with PvP combat always available? One with zero armistice rules. So will there be a hero station with PvP combat always available? One with armistice rules? Anyone want to try to take that one on? Nope.
Okay,
So,
so we're talking about.
Yeah, go ahead.
So we're talking about PvP rules at different homesteads. Like, we'll be able to put armistice zones around our homesteads. Is that what we're talking about? Or yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, that's if NuSoul Squared is still in chat, maybe you can clear that up for us. Or let me see. But it's a Silence of a Lamb reference.
I think his question is basically, will there be a place where PvP people can go? There's no armistice rules at all.
Mm-hmm.
And basically you're battling it out. It's a hero station where you're fighting it out.
Rune Station, isn't it?
I think that's what Grim Hex used to be at one point.
Okay. Next question. This is from Jajad. On the idea of trading, what are your thoughts on using Vulcans and Starfarers as relay points outside the heavy traded lane to avoid conflict or refueling a hostile base point? I like that idea. What about you guys?
That's a great idea.
Yes,
I like that as well.
Yeah, I think it makes sense.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, I think it makes sense. Absolutely makes sense to have stationary areas or stops that are heavily guarded for fuel if you can't go to certain stations in that certain system and you need fuel. So yeah, especially for those huge hull ships, they're going to want to have some place to stop off and get fueled if you can't get into, say, a station in a particular area because it doesn't have particular, type of security that's necessary for that ship that's going to take a day to fill. So yeah,
I'm trying to imagine the logistics. Let's say you have, like, taking DK's idea from earlier. You have 3 whole seas worth of cargo you want to protect and get from one destination to another. You're going to need quite a few starfarers to get all that done, or like having like maybe a few repair ships along as well, just in case you get disabled.
I'm thinking like truck stops where we have truck mechanics and you've got these large, the big rigs traveling down the highway. There are truck mechanics along the way for fueling and stuff like that. I could see something similar. It's not a normal place that your car, you're going to take your small ship, but it's accommodating for those very large, vessels that are out there. I could see that happening. Just truck stops in the middle of, Pyro or something. Not that I would want to go to that one. I don't want to go that one. Never mind.
No Pyro, thank you. No, but GT4 makes a good point. Kraken will be a very good frequent ad hoc basis on PhaseOne.
Good point. Yeah, Kraken. That's exactly what it's there for. Repeal
privateer to
repair
to hold goods.
Yep, exactly.
All right, so Griffin Gaming, I wonder who that is. RPG. Will there be a need, role, career for a player to have personal hired bodyguard? So you have one person following you, bodyguarding you at all times. Will there be a need, role, or career for that?
Yeah, for pacifists. There's people who never want to fire a shot in Star Citizen, and I can see them hiring bodyguards.
Yeah, I think
you said they're going to be in the game. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was gonna say, yeah, for sure. If you have the leader of an org or important people within orgs, if you need to move from one place to the other, I could see that happening.
Actual tactics said the filthy rich. That's my goal in game, to be filthy rich, but I don't know if I would I mean, maybe. I have to think about that for a bit. Like, if I get so rich in game that I have to hire a bodyguard, is it gonna be like Kevin Costner? And but I have to
bodyguard him singing.
You already have the 600 already. You might as well.
I almost started singing, but I was gonna spare you guys for that. If we weren't on screen right now, I would have started singing. All right, so 97-9. Have you heard anything about provinces or territories in game of Star Citizen?
Territories?
Just the land beacons, right? The 10 by 10 click things, or was it 5 by 5 clicks? That's
something like that.
Yeah,
I think
people,
it was,
I mean, isn't that
know.
jurisdictions at this point? Just like Crusader space is Crusader jurisdiction, and Hurston space is Hurston jurisdiction. That's
but what about personal or org or homesteading? What about those?
Would they fall under?
I was gonna give people some background. Like I think 2016, 2015, CIG sold what are called land claim. No, I think it might be an odd year because it was when the Pioneer came out, and that was not even year, but probably 2017. I want to say, but when the Pioneer came out, they sold land claims. You get I forget the size. It's 4x4, 8x8. The 8x8 were 100, and 4x4 were 50. They haven't sold any since that year. So I think they sold it twice that year, and they haven't done it since. So there are all these things called land claims that you could, claim land. And we talk about putting a base or a homestead there that you can guard. So I think when it comes to some provinces, like maybe your org has a bunch of bases, and that becomes a territory of a province that you have to protect. Instead of having like just one base on the ground, you have several. That sounds better. So what would be going into to protecting that security wise?
I almost see the security for my homestead, if I was going to have one, as going to be run under the jurisdiction of whoever is providing security for that planet or moon. I guess there would be, like, if I'm in Stanton and I'm on Microtech or one of the moons of Microtech, I would expect that since they're under the security jurisdiction of Microtech, that Microtech security would be my police force in a sense. Not my private security detail, but a police force. So if I'm building a homestead on Clio, I would expect that homestead is overall protected by the security forces around Microtech. There might be extra security locally, perhaps if there's a homestead, not a homestead, but a out village or something like that nearby that has their own policing security, that I can maybe, I live in this particular area of the colony, perhaps I can get security provided over here as well, so nobody breaks into my house. At least if my alarm goes off, somebody can come and check it out. I would see that on the level of that kind of security for something, for homesteads and things like that. Not huge security, but it should be protected at least by the security systems in that particular area if they're available.
Yeah, I don't mean any harm, but you say Cleo, right?
Yeah, I said Cleo.
Yeah, as soon as you said that, my mind went, "Call me now," and I missed everything you said after that.
Cleo, call me now.
So I know I started with LML earlier. You have any other starts that these questions might have spawned in your head?
No, I think
Any other
Dark
thoughts?
Knight put a bow on it on that one.
Anyone else have anything? Yes, exactly, John. Anything else? Anyone else have anything you want to clarify, or maybe had a thought on? Do we have it covered yet? DK phase.
I can't think of anything. Yeah, I
can't think of anything right now.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we got two more questions. Just
I was looking at the squad. That's the only thing I thought of. Is now that I understand the idea of an MMO squad, of how that gets put together, it makes sense as we were going through the conversation. Because at first I had no idea, because I've only played MMOs like once. Like, this is really the first MMO I've ever really played. And actually,
you had squads in other games, like Mass Effect had squad.
Yeah, it's different in that case though. I didn't play a lot of Mass Effect until kind of recently. I picked up Andromeda. Don't say anything.
I picked up Andromeda too, man. I feel you. I'm there with you.
So I jumped on that, and I'm just getting back used to playing RPGs and things like that, where you're dealing with squad members. Got to pick a squad, got to get the skills right to make sure that they know what they're going into and what they're supposed to do. It's unique to get back into that again.
So has everyone here played Mass Effect? And anyone here not? Yeah. Okay. So
Mass Effect.
Okay, so phase one. Are there any gameplay or regarding squads you would like to see from Mass Effect that we put into Star Citizen?
From Mass Effect, I played a little bit a while back. I do like, Mass Effect, in a sense, there's abilities, but in Star Citizen, there isn't really that let's say a medic would have. So just that mechanic alone, just be able to have, let's say for example, a medic would have a certain flight suit that helps him perform his task a little bit better. So just that flight suit, maybe you have more battery power for your medical gun, for you to use your medical gun. Just things like that. I like that. To be able to make sure that you'll have to properly equip yourself based on what your role is within a squad. So those are my thoughts on it.
Cool. Like I said, we had a couple more questions. Astrotastic asked, do you think it's likely that other players will find a small homestead with the size of planet like the way the planets are, they're huge. So the likelihood of finding a small homestead, and you continue the question, and if exploration ships can scan planets from orbit, you think stealth gameplay can come to bases. So, what do you think of the likelihood of finding a small homestead on the planet, and you think having stealth? What do you think of the stealth gameplay come to bases or homestead? Is that likely or not? LM.
Based on, I think they actually, when they talked about the land beacons with the Pioneer, they actually showed a picture of like, okay, so 8 by 8 kilometers, it looks like this. And like, yes, on the ground to a character, it's huge. But in the grand scheme of how big the planets and moons are, it is really, really small. And not to mention there are certain places that like players will go to try to mine or something, but I'm pretty positive, like even in live, when we're talking like lots of moons and lots of planets, like I don't think it's going to certainly be easy unless someone just makes it absurdly easy and they just put their homesteads right by a mining station because maybe they want the convenience of they're right next to a mining station. Like, who knows?
People will do that.
Yeah, some people will do that. You know, they'll be like, oh, that's cool. I can put a homestead here and we could just make a city. You know, I wouldn't be surprised if people make colonies just based around those popular areas just because. And then exploration ships.
You can make a red and white homestead in the shape of a target, like a bullseye right there.
A big red X. Just put all the buildings in two. Just have all the rooftops be a big red. Yeah.
So what do you think about stealth?
Exploration scanning. I think there's kind of two pieces to that, and one would probably be it depends on how customizable will these homesteads be in terms of like, are you just changing the physical structure, or is it like, okay, you want to have power, you want to have these power plants, and then we'll do the classes of power plants that exist, et cetera, et cetera. So I mean, it kind of depends on like if they're going to let us customize like how power and like signatures work. Oh, so now homesteads are going to have a signature based on this. If you have devices and technology here, if you have a high functioning like power plant or other support systems, then if it's not a pile of dirt, then maybe a scanner will see it from further away. But that's all based on how they want to do those systems.
DK, what do you think?
Yeah, I want to just kind of add on what LM and Phase were talking about. I think when it comes to finding a homestead on a planet or moon, I think it's just going to be really, really hard to do. I think it will, unless, like you said, you put a target on yourself and just say, "Hey, look, I'm here." No one's gonna. It's going to be really hard to find you. It's hard to find people now that are just on the surface of a planet. You know, just sitting there on the Hurston. It's rare that you'll come across anybody down there unless you go to a highly populated area. Like one of the mining colony or mining outposts. So, and if you have a high enough radar signature on your homestead or ground outposts that can be seen from a very far distance, then it's probably a problem. Because I'm pretty sure you must be drawing a lot of power.
So, Deacon, your idea from earlier, putting 30 turrets around your homestead. you think that would be seen from space?
Yeah, that's probably a pretty good target. I mean, somebody up in space is gonna go, "Oh, look, point your missile there."
So this is what I mean by having too much security. There is such a thing.
It's too much. Right?
Yeah, that's too much. What is PhaseOne?
Yeah, I think it is. I think it will be a good mechanic to be able to, like LM was saying, to use the right classes of components. And I believe the fact that they're doing it for ships, I don't see any reason why they won't do that components within bases. So, the sizes of planets, I believe the sizes of planets that we're seeing right now isn't even going to be the biggest planets. So I think it's going to be hard to find bases, especially if you go out in the outskirts where somewhere that's not really high traffic areas, you can really hide your bases there for sure.
Oh, no 30 turrets for you.
No.
You don't want to light your base or homestead like a Christmas tree.
No.
Trust me on this one, guys. 30 wooden doors.
30 wooden doors.
Wooden, not steel. Wooden.
I think someone had mentioned before, or I don't know where it was. It was not in this conversation, but I've seen somewhere that someone said that with all the players that are in the game right now, if they all had an 8x8 homestead, they still would not be able to cover Yella. So it's like we have somewhat 1.5 million, 2 million backers. You know, maybe 1.5 million that actually go in the game.
We have over 3 million citizens.
3 million accounts.
Account.
3 million
Okay,
accounts,
so let's say maybe 25 to 30% of them actually play. Even then, I mean that's close to 500, 600,000 people, all of them having homesteads. Nobody can find you on Yellow. I think it's really cool.
To your point, it's not to negate your point, but just to push back a little bit. I think when the game goes live, I think when word of mouth catches on, we usually have like 10 million.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let me rephrase that. 7 million. And
7
even
million?
then, if we reach that point, it'll still be hard to find people.
We couldn't fill out the moons in Stanton. Yeah, we couldn't even fill out the moons in Stanton with homesteads. All 8x8 homesteads. You'd still be hard pressed to find people because they could be spread out all over Hurston or Microtech underneath a tree over by.
Or underground, like LM plan.
Or underground, yeah. That cave.
Yeah.
That cave. Do you have cave or thing? You can happen to cave.
Have a cave base, right?
That's a natural choke point for you.
There you go. That's right.
So our last question for tonight is, what is the gameplay idea that we could do in cities, like for security purposes? What gameplay ideas could we do in cities? This is from your idea, Smoke. PhaseOne, you have any thoughts on that?
I think they did mention that a few years back in regards to being able to sneak in narcotics and things of that nature. So I think in terms of security, being able to do FPS scanning, just scanning a person, checking out what they have and things of that nature to make sure they're not sneaking in the wrong things, I think would be a really good mechanic to have in games. So it's one of the things I'm actually looking forward to.
BK, any thoughts? No? You just read it.
Sorry, I'm trying to keep the noise in the background down. Repeat the question again because I got distracted there.
What is a gameplay idea that we could do in cities as far as security goes?
Policing, protecting NPCs, I think probably be your most probably thing to do. I don't see much player versus player happening there unless somebody comes down and tries to assassinate a patient in a hospital, but which they probably will do because the players are players.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I was gonna put back on that one.
Players. Oh, but yeah, that I would imagine if it's just city walking around a town or outpost or something like that, it's most likely you're just going to be policing and protecting NPCs unless you're going on a mission.
What about places like Grimhex?
They will probably not have anybody walking around policing. You'll police yourself, and you can pretend to police others
that's what I'm looking for.
Until they shoot you in the face.
Yeah, but you'll be safe because you have your sniper rifle, right? You'll be safe.
Railgun.
Railgun. That's what I meant. Ellen, what do you thought?
Big boom,
Protecting the city, how would you go about that?
Yeah, we wouldn't be policing, but in terms of like city security gameplay, I think the potential right now of ArcCorp's rooftops are getting slept on right now because some of their rooftops are not just a singular like landing pad and the delivery boxes. There's actually a couple rooftop varieties because if you go to anywhere that's not Area 18, you actually can draw your weapons. Like they're not protected zones. And some of the rooftops have like 3 tiers, so you could do some type of, I don't know, like a VIP transfer, and like another group could be set up with snipers, and the security team has to identify, like, are there snipers on these rooftops, and like how can we transport them through the lower part of the ramp to the upper part. Like there's some potential there, but like it's something that our org's been trying to work on a scrimmage for that, but I see some potential there with rooftops if one day we can also like go inside the buildings, because right now it's purely exterior in ArcCorp. But maybe
I forget
one day
about Area 8. Yeah. I forget about Area 18. Nobody goes there except for Area 18.
Yeah, in Area 18, where do you fly? You don't fly around the buildings unless you want to sightsee.
Yeah.
But if you go to anywhere else on ArcCorp, you can draw weapons and have FPS weapons, and hang around on the rooftops, and it's really cool. I think there's a lot of potential there.
I think we just figured out where LM is going to trade her botanicals.
Where? Microtech Caves.
So that's it for questions, and thank you for joining us. But before we go, we have two more things. Next Saturday, on the 12th, we're having a Bar Citizen. Let me put that in the Twitch chat. In cooperation with Yacht Club, we're going to have another virtual Bar Citizen. We had one on May 1st in the evening, but this one's going to be on Saturday, June 12th at 3 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. UTC. Let me just copy and paste this real quick. There we go. Sure, yeah, that one. That's fine. So I'm going to copy this and put it in Twitch chat real quick, so forgive me for this. So come join us. We have a certain amount of slots, and we're over half filled. So if you're thinking about going, make sure you sign up and register sooner rather than later. If we get too many people, we're not sure how we're going to address that yet. But so just like sign up as soon as you can. It helps us. If we go over, we have more time to figure that out. So please join us on June 12th, and it should be a lot of fun. And for our last thing, let me get back to the right window. We have a new video from NuSoul, a video remix called Security. I'm looking forward to this. This is from Face to Face and Pop in Face. So look forward to this. Let's see how it is.
If you don't mind me jumping in, this is a premiere video, first time seen. So you guys be sure to give them a shout out when they post it on the RSI site. You guys are the first ones to get to see it, and they dedicated it to the show tonight. So here we go.
Oh, wonderful.
Start that over. For some reason it froze.
People of Crusader. The criminal group known as the Nine Tails have cut off all quantum travel around one of the sector stations.
You know I gotta come back. You know I gotta get the racks. You know I gotta get them M's. You know I'm never gon' slack. You know I'm never gon' slack. You know I'm never gon' slack. You know I'm getting in them racks, and you know I always bring it back. You know I always bring it back. You know I always bring it back.
Crusader Security has dispatched forces to resolve this issue. Until then, we advise all civilian ships to avoid this area until further notification. And request that any qualified mercenary forces willing to assist contact our outsource managers. Thank you.
They want me to go get that cash. They want me to go bring it back. They want me to break it off to them, but I ain't gonna have none of that. I'm running the race and I'm faster than them. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's real. Yeah, that real. Yeah, you know I got it. racks. Yeah, you know I got the bag.
You just gotta realize that everybody's gonna be on your tail from 5 o'clock until the day you die. And then if this gun was loaded, one of you brave boys might decide to go for the ride just to fire it.
A shot to kill. What? What? We were damn lucky to get away at all. At least up here you have a fighting chance.
All right, pilot, let's not beat around the bush. Last time you offered to help with the Nine Tails blockade, you were less than reliable. But these bastards are at it again, and I need every ship I can get. Head to the first scan point, and let's see if you can help us locate their fleet.
Hey, I know you're in good with the Nine Tails, but here's how it's gonna happen. You're going to turn around and leave us to our business. Or you gonna be in the world of hurt. Up to you. You just stumbled across a bit of trouble, pilot. Now you can be smart and turn around. Or you can try your luck with facing down us Nine Tails. I'll leave it to you.
But he might have been insane.
I'm running the race and I'm faster than him. Yeah, yeah. I'm running the race and I'm faster than him. Yeah, yeah. I'm running the race and I'm faster than him. Faster than him. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And we're back. So that was great. Thank you for NuSoul, Face to Face and Popping Face for that. And I put the link in Twitch chat. Give them an upvote. I'll hit it again. So yeah, give them an upvote and thanks again. And I want to thank all the people who follow and subscribe during this show. I wasn't able to keep track of it. Sorry, but Griffin did the job for me, so I appreciate that. Thank you. And I want to say, Griffin, you say if you don't mind. Oh, Valerie.
Thank you, Valerie.
Valerie Rose. Thank you for not following. Thank you.
Thank you,
So,
Val.
Griffin, you said if you don't mind, you jumping in. What if you do mind? No, I'm kidding. Thank you for that and explaining. Thanks again for popping in Face to Face and everyone else. I want to thank you to our guests and hosts, LM and DK and PhaseOne Gaming. I hope you had a good time. PhaseOne, this is the first time here. Did you have a good time?
Yes, I did. I had lots of fun.
You're gonna be back.
Yes, definitely.
Cool. Good to hear. So let's start with PhaseOne. Where can people find you?
I'm on YouTube as PhaseOne Gaming Redefined, and as well as on Twitch as PhaseOne Play.
And LM, where can people find you?
I fly with the Rec Raiders. So if you go to twitch.tv/Rec Raiders, you can find all of our org information and hang out with us in our chat.
And DK, where can people find you?
Let's see. You can find me here, Star Citizen, or Soul Citizen. You can find me in game under Dark Knight 75. You can find me on a YouTube channel that I don't post to. I have a Twitch channel I don't stream on. Let's see what else. Yeah, so that's pretty much about it. Dark Knight 75 on Twitter, same thing. I'm usually just out and about. And with my org, my two org mates, Fist and Face and Pops in Space up there, who put together that bomb track, and to the Galactic Enterprises Incorporated org out there. I see you, Lucky. So that's my shout out today.
Yeah, I'm waiting for DK to point out that you can follow him on his OnlyFans that he doesn't post to. That's what I was waiting for. Oh, okay. That's on the down low. I am fastcart. You can find me on twitter.com/fast_cart. You normally can find me on Miss Hart's 80s store on Tuesday, but I'm taking a week off, so that'll be the week after this one. I'll be on Yacht Club on Wednesday, along with Fish Face and Popping Face. But I think that's it. I want to say 10 p.m. Eastern. So on Wednesday. So that's 2 a.m. UTC. And also you find me on the Table of Horrors on twitch.tv. I'll be in chat looking, making snide comments and making bad jokes like I always do. Like I always make bad jokes, right? So again, thank you all for joining us. Next week we're having a show called Early Mentors. So you can see the thumbnail there. We have Geo, or actually he's known as Sub-Zero now, Miss Hart, Stoutman, Salty Mike, and Paul Selly, after known as the Actor Club. So please join us for that. That's next week at 8 p.m. Sunday. And don't forget to follow us on social media, YouTube, Instagram. I'm forgetting one. You know, we have the link down below. And don't forget to buy our merch. We have T-shirts, cups, and mouse pads. So if you want to support us, and Patreon, follow us on Patreon to show support. And we appreciate everything that you can do and have done so far. So with that, in the show, peace, love, and soul. And see you guys next week.
Yes, peace.